Call this meeting to order. Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Bowden.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So our first agenda item is to approve minutes of prior meetings, the first of which was our August 24th non-public minutes. We have a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
By Bill, second by Neil. All those in favor, if there's no discussion.
Aye.
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 And the second is the minutes of our non-public work session, August 24th.
I think we just approved that.
What did I just do? You wanted me to screw it up, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
I've got two of them. I just really need to do it once though, right? Okay. And it did sound kind of familiar.
Oh, it's listed twice.
And then I have the regular meeting minutes of August 24th.
I'll move that we accept those minutes.
By Armand and second by
Second.
John. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, takes care of that. We're going to meet on the following dates. Usually our next meeting would be Monday, September 28th, but we're going to cancel that meeting because we've been meeting a lot and we have a shortage of people. There are three of us are going to be gone on that day, so we're going to cancel that meeting. So our next regularly scheduled meeting is actually going to be on October 13th, and it'll be right here, of course, and the work session is prior to all the meetings at 5 o'clock. The meetings are held here unless otherwise posted. Weather observations for August are available in the town hall. Anybody wishing to be listed on the agenda should notify the town hall before noon, the Friday before the scheduled meeting. This is good. The Pemmy Baker Solid Waste District 2015 Household Hazardous Waste Collection will take place Saturday, September 26th from noon to 9 at the Plymouth Recycling Center. That's noon to 9 on Saturday, the 26th. The town offices will be closed Monday, the October 12th, in observance of Columbus Day. The next item on our agenda here is a letter regarding Elsa Turmel's resignation from Pease Public Library. And it's addressed to Paul Freitas and the Select Board, signed by Winnie Holt. And it says, after many, many years of enthusiastic and faithful service on the Pease Public Library, Elsa Turmel has resigned. We on the board have accepted her resignation with regret and with deep appreciation for her wisdom and experience. In her place, we have asked Bridget Powers to serve out the unexpired term. Bridget is a speech therapist in the Plymouth school system. She and her children, Sam and Sophie, are all library patrons and have a deep appreciation for what our library offers to the community. Bridget has agreed to join us, and we are delighted to welcome her. I am writing to ask that the Select Board approve her for this position. She will come to Town Hall for her swearing in as soon as possible. So I guess the first, we should note that Elsa Turmel has apparently been on the Board of Trustees for a long time, served the town well, and has resigned. And then she's asking that we approve Bridget Powers to serve out Elsa's unexpired term. Anybody have any thoughts about that? Are we required to approve that, Paul? Is that,
Yes,
to
to accept it.
accept it? Do we have a motion? Does anybody know Bridget or have any thoughts about it?
Mr. Chair, I know Bridget.
Do you? Okay.
And I would say this would be a very good recommendation.
Would you make a motion
I
to
would.
approve her, appointment to the library board for Elsa's unexpired term? Is there a second to Armin's motion?
I'll
By
second.
Bill. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's see, that takes care of that. And the next agenda item is Chief Clogston to talk to us about the promotion of Jeremy Bonin.
Good evening, board.
Good evening, Chief.
And as you see, we have some guests here with us. We had an opening for a captain's position come available a while ago, and we went through a process. We had 2 candidates for that. And I'm happy and proud to say that Firefighter Bonin, who's been with us for 7 years as a full-time member, he came out on top of that process. Jeremy started his career back in '03 with the Guilford Fire Department, and then he came to Plymouth State University in '04, where he joined our call department. And in '08, we hired him as full-time. That same year, he did complete his degree in business administration through PSU University. And he's brought with him his father, mother, and his grandfather, who is also, he was a retired deputy chief of Manchester, Connecticut, correct? So we'd like to introduce him to the board and recognize him by having the ceremonial pinning of the captain's badge. And he has requested that his grandfather do that, and I think that's a very nice gesture.
Is Jeremy going to make a speech before he gets his badge? Or yes, he sounds excited about it, actually.
Yeah, so obviously been here for a while, and thank the chief obviously for having some faith in me and going through the process, and looking forward to starting a new position.
Well, congratulations. I'm sure you've done a lot of hard work to get here tonight.
Yeah.
And your grandfather, is this?
Yep, this is my grandfather. He's from Connecticut. Was the deputy chief, the highest position he had down in Connecticut. So I thought it would be
And is he
awesome to have.
Still a Connecticut resident?
Yeah.
Hasn't seen the light and moved up to New Hampshire, huh?
So.
Well, nice. And do you want to tell us who else is here for you tonight?
My dad, my mom, my sister, my other grandfather, and all the guys from the fire station. Well, not all of them, but some of them.
Some of them. All right, well,
Yeah.
let's carry on.
Deputy, if you would please.
We have some EMTs here.
Yeah. Stabs him. Congratulations, Jeremy. Thanks, yeah. Nice to meet you, sir. And the rest of you, too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Too.
Thanks so long.
And the moon clears out.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't come to see you, Joe. But you're next on the agenda. So you have a couple of purchase orders to talk to us about?
Correct.
First one I've got here is Porter Paving for crosswalks. What's going on there?
I've got some brick crosswalks in town that are a nuisance to the state, to the highway department, and to a lot of the public.
Because the bricks keep breaking and
Grading.
coming out and stuff.
Cracking.
They look good when you put them in, But after a period of time, they break down, and the biggest problem with those is salt. They eat them, and then they deteriorate. So we've tried our luck at trying to replace them from time to time. But you reach a point where you can't keep up with it anymore.
Yeah.
Once, I'd say like a 7-year span, after that, you can't keep up with it. And for the highway, the problem is they get put in, and then from whoever decides to put them in, and then it becomes the highway's problem.
Yeah, who decided to put them in?
Well, depends on where they are. I mean, they're all over the town, but for us, I'd like to have, when it comes time to putting brick sidewalks in, I'd like to have a say in that. And it's true, because it's coming out of our budget
Sure.
to rip them out.
Do the plows bang them around too?
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, the granite curbing, and, I mean, they do look nice when they're put in, and I'm sure they have good intentions, but they don't work for this part of the state.
So there's some of that up on Highland Street between the library, like the university library and the other side. Are those going?
Not
Are those
this round.
areas, or- No.
Right now, each side of the common, there's a sidewalk, a crosswalk, and then the one from Anderson's Bakery to the Fox Block.
When you say each side of Common,
One going
If you
into
walk-
Peterman's and one to the post office.
If you walk from the post office to the UBS,
right?
there's a sidewalk
Okay.
on each side of that common. And
Oh, I
then,
see your, I see, okay, I get it, right.
and then,
Anderson's to Fox Block.
the biggest one right now is, at the post office to the bank. Because when you turn the corner, all the salt comes down the hill in the water. It really takes it hard there, and that one we cannot keep up with. So
So are we talking about removing the bricks and paving them, is that?
the highway's gonna remove all the brick and the granite, and then we're gonna just put millings back in, which is asphalt grindings, and compact it, and then let it settle for about a week or so, and then the paving contractor will come in and subgrade it and pave it, and then we'll put a white crosswalk back in place.
Painted crosswalk, huh?
We're not gonna emboss it like with false brick and then paint it red? Or-
The stamp, if you put a stamp on there with the brick, it's big money, because there's only, I think, 2, possibly 3 outfits in the state that have that stamp. It's a monopoly, and it's huge money to stamp a sidewalk. And then, like, we experimented down in front of the, right out front here.
Yeah,
That costs $10,000
yeah.
to do one.
And what happens is the travel lane where the tires go, after about 3 years, they break down. So you have a nice stamp-looking crosswalk, and then you have these tire ruts that go through it. And then they just keep breaking down. And
So the
so,
tires
so you're
wear,
wearing that asphalt off, so that amount of money, it looks good, but it doesn't last. So it's not the answer.
It's not a solution, but just a question. So where the All-Well Center is? Going the crosswalk between that and the Welcome Center? Is that going to be, I know it's Holderness, but is that going to be a different surface? Maybe the PSU rep might know, or?
I couldn't.
That's Holderness.
No, I know that, but I just was
You
wondering.
mean where they're just doing all that work right
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
It looks like they're going to put brick
Yes.
with concrete.
Yeah,
that looks like
But-
they've been there for weeks.
And that is why I say, when it comes to the roads, you know, that the highway has to maintain, I would like to have say in that.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, if I have to pay to rip them out and take it out of my budget, then
I think originally the college wanted, back when.
well, they're all different kinds of groups that want them, and they always look good, but there's no afterthought about taking care of them. It just gets handed down. and
Well, and people may not have
we're not
known
landscapers.
when they
I
were
mean,
put in how much of a problem they were gonna be. You know, that may be part of it too. I mean, I sort of hate to see them go, but I can imagine that it's
Well, the
not.
problem we have right now, Mr. Chair, is we've got multiple people coming to us that have fallen.
Yeah,
And
so
for
it's a
us,
liability.
for us to take out as many sidewalks, crosswalks as we can and repair them, this is the only thing that fits into the budget. Joe has gone around to the ones that have the holes in it where people have fallen. Those spaces have been filled with concrete.
Mm.
It's,
Yes, sir.
I was gonna say, I know that the campus likes to tie into what the town is doing, and I will share with our fiscal plan, but the pavers right now, I spent a lot of time walking around the town of Portland this summer, and you keep them, I don't know if you've been walking in Portland lately, it is horrific. I don't know how you can get there, they're tilted 3 inches up. The longer you keep them, the worse they're gonna get, and they're hard to maintain, so the sooner you change it, the better it's gonna be for our things, because it's gonna continue to be a nightmare, I agree. In Portland, I don't know how they do it, I don't know how they plow, I don't know. It's horrible.
Are those are old, like almost cobblestone type
it's
roads? Yeah.
unbelievable. But, again, knowing what the town's moving to, I think the university will say, to keep that in mind. Because I think more and more that you want the aesthetics of the two areas to work together, and
Yeah.
probably say that the college money too, as they do their crosswalks in the future.
I don't know if you're finding this to be true, Frank, but our problem right now is I don't think we can combine your bricks with our bricks.
Yeah.
We can't even get these bricks
Yep.
to match what we've got. So they're not fitting in the holes, so they take 2 or 3 times longer to do. And they stick a hair higher than the other ones, so we have to grind down. And, I mean, we're having the same problem out at the roundabout with those cobbles that go around the roundabout. With the bigger trucks, not plow trucks, just bigger trucks, popping them out.
Oh, really?
They're actually doing away with those cobbles, and they're putting cement
I
on
noticed.
a lot of the newer ones.
Like down at the Weirs, I think that
Right.
one's, all, just concrete
Yeah,
circle.
they
Yeah.
couldn't keep it in.
So,
Interesting, yeah. All right, so, anybody have any other questions or
Um,
comments about, yes,
I-
Neil?
Is the contractor gonna put 2 courses down?
yep. So it'll be a total of 3.5 inches. He's gonna put like an inch and a half of base, and then an inch of top, or whatever it is, gonna total 3.5 inches. So there's 2 courses, and
Anything else?
Nope.
All right, so do we want to, vote to approve this? Do we have a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the paving of the crosswalks.
By John, second by
I'll
Neil.
second it.
All those in favor?
Aye. All right.
Write your name very small on these.
Porter does excellent work.
Good. Is Porter Meredith? Or,
Belmont.
oh,
Franklin, I think, to down
oh, yeah.
Franklin, Tilton area. I did get 3 quotes, and they were the cheapest, but everyone that I did get quotes from, they're all reputable.
Sure. And then, well, we'll wait for these guys to finish signing. And then I've got another one from you here, Joe, for Dana White. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, Mike McNally, our town engineer, did a study and put together a survey for Langdon Street, the underground drainage. It's failed from Highland Street to the intersection of High. Well, that's not the only place, but that's the section we're replacing. Because I ran a camera up through there last summer because I had a lot of issues and I wanted to pave that and I wanted to address it, but what I found was a complete failure.
So these pipes are crushed or broken or?
It's the old sewer lines, and during the crossover when water and sewer, the highway obtained all the drainage, so it's older than dirt.
So these,
So they're
so
actually clay pipes.
these, this was the old sewer pipe that was abandoned when new sewer pipes were put in at some point and that was turned
Well, they
into?
weren't abandoned, we took them over because all those lines went right to the river. So, in essence, they worked for us for years, you know, we just,
Yeah. So, but they were sewer pipes at
They were
one time?
abandoned as sewer.
They were abandoned as sewer.
Drainage pipes.
correct.
And do we still drain into the river?
Uh,
I think we
In a
did.
roundabout way, there's like a low-lying moat area where it just comes in and then it just filters down, and then it doesn't just directly just fly into the river, but
Where's the low-lying moat area? I'm
right
just
behind the highway garage.
curious. Oh, really?
It runs right along the riverbank. There's a big area, like as wide as this building, and it just is like a big gully.
All right, so you're gonna take out these 100-and-some-odd-year-old clay pipes underneath
In that one section of it,
Langdon
yes.
Street and replace them with PVC? Is that what's done?
Plastic, yep. Because my intention is to try to pave it next summer, but that was my intention to start with, but I have to start with the infrastructure first.
Is this something, this must be in your budget? This is something you were
Correct.
planning on? And, anything else we need to know? Anybody have any questions?
It's gonna be done this season should be done by, there's a deadline in November 15th, before the asphalt plants close.
Oh, I see, yeah.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a very heavily trafficked street, especially
Yep.
with the college. Is the street gonna be closed or just?
Yes, but there's enough area to work around it, and we'll make provisions for the people that that, you know, be through traffic only, so
Okay.
it'll work out. We have traffic, you know, the highway will monitor it, and we'll be tied in with the PD and the fire department.
I think especially the Plymouth State University, where there's a lot of
Yep.
employees that use that road to go park for their, I
Yep.
think it's important that maybe Frank is aware of the time.
There's
frame on
enough
that.
room for all of us to work, we'll keep the, you know, the traffic out, and just keep the local traffic, they'll be able to get through.
Yeah, and I know this is a very important project. We gotta get it done, so.
I have a question.
Neil?
You're going to follow the existing footprint where the pipes and catch basins are now?
I am, yes.
So there's no question about ledge?
Nope. I say no, but
I hope not.
we're gonna follow the old footprint, so everything, I mean, obviously, there's probably a ledge clause, but there shouldn't be an issue there.
Yeah.
Nothing that the underground camera picked up, so.
Oh,
Got a question?
Frank?
Will you be able to still use your metered parking for the project? I'm pretty sure you get a pretty good amount of traffic.
Well, the project starts right about at Edmonds Court, so there's a section just above there. I'm not sure completely, but,
But you're not gonna, they'll do pieces at a time, so if some of them are, you may have one or two of them out at a time,
Right.
not the whole stretch yet.
right. There's only a very, you know, the upper half, there's only maybe
Well, that's right, you got
Dozen.
High Street, not to Merrill. That's what I was thinking, High Street to Merrill is the
yeah,
busier part, got it.
right.
And the other thing that's gonna help Frank, we're not doing a complete overlay
Right,
this year, just over the trench.
got it.
The overlay will come next year.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna do a trench patch, which is good for us because it'll settle, and if it works out well, we're gonna probably regrind and redo the whole thing because it's so broken up.
That would be next
So
year.
that'll be next year.
Correct. Next year's budget.
That would have been this year until we had the sinkhole down the bottom of High Street, and then we had Russell Street go down on us, and so that money kept drawing from this money.
So, I think ultimately, this is probably not the time to address this question, but, we're not gonna do anything with regard to the actual drainage. We're not gonna modify the drainage in any way. It's still gonna go as, water runoff will still be heading down to the river.
The only modifications are we're adding a few more catch basins.
Just to
They
reduce the
will catch
volume.
the water coming down various streets instead of just, because right now, all the water runs down the right-hand side. There's not a single basin on that side.
it
So
comes
the
out
water
with a lot of
runs the
force.
whole length straight down that road. So the advantage is to put a couple of basins at various spots just to slow it down. So,
Well, I know this was kind of like a point of discussion at the Pemigewasset River Local Advisory Commission, concerned about the wastewater that's going out into the Pemmy. And this isn't going to address that, but I'm just wondering if we were giving thought to, maybe looking at the wastewater situation and,
the same amount of water is gonna
yeah,
go,
regardless.
whether it's on top or whether it goes in the pipes. Because it all is gonna end up down at High Street
Right.
and turn the corner.
We would have to be
Whether
able to channel that into our sewer lines, which
Yeah.
isn't allowed to go to our treatment plant.
Or there's maybe an alternative treatment,
Another treatment plant.
or just wastewater
Well,
from runoff.
There
it
could be
sounds like-
consideration for a detention pond,
But it sounds like he's almost got a detention pond of
So it goes into
sorts.
like a swale that goes.
There's a detention moat behind the
Yeah, the
garage.
moat. Okay, well, maybe at some point, we might consider the moat being retrofitted for a wastewater treatment for.
And the volume hasn't changed. No, he's got the right size there for the volume, but we have all that infiltration of roots and other debris that have broken through
You
the
have to-
pipes that are underneath there.
Yeah,
Clean it out?
we've done like 3 repairs on that street. And 2 are crushed pipes and the other one's been tree roots. And we've had to,
We routed out what we
Them
could,
out.
Mike, but the
Yeah.
camera can't even get through
Can't
some
get
of the
through.
sections. The robotic camera, so,
those old clay street pipes have a lot of leaks, and the roots get in there and crack them, and they drop, and the hole gets smaller. If he has
All right.
more catch basins, that'll prevent more silt from getting down to the river.
well, the biggest danger right now is we've got so much infiltration and cracked pipes is losing Langdon Street
True.
with sinkholes.
Mhm.
So that's why we're not waiting for next year.
Other questions? If not, a motion?
Make a motion to approve the underground drainage replacement by D.A. White.
Second that.
All right, so a motion by John, second by Bill. No further discussion, then all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Should have passed it this way that time.
all right, thank you,
That's
gentlemen.
it. Thank you, Joe. Nice to see you.
Have a good night.
Let's see.
All right, and then the next item here is renovations to the police department. We have a purchase order from Chief LaFave, which we discussed in some detail at our work session.
Right, and this was approved in 2013, and I asked the chief that we renew the purchase orders just for auditing purposes because it has been 2 years, and we don't want this money to lapse. It was stated that it was gonna get done in 2013, but then we came across Homeland Security grant money that could redo dispatch at no cost to the town, so we didn't wanna lose that opportunity. And then we could only fit in one item down that PD during that construction season, so dispatch was picked first, and dispatch got delayed for a year, so they finally did dispatch this past year, and now we want to go back to doing the rest of the renovation that got approved in 2013.
And this money is, what's the source of this money?
That was also, this money was given to the police department and the fire department in conjunction with the fire department got money to purchase the White House next to the fire department.
Yeah.
And in that budget season, the police department was given money for renovations of the PD.
Okay.
And they needed renovations, so those renovations didn't get done in lieu of doing dispatch first.
All right, so this is actually money that was appropriated by the town in 2013 and carried over.
Yes.
And the amount is $112,279.03. And it
And the
involves, I guess we should explain that it involves generally building a 30 by 30 foot addition to the rear of the police department, which will give the police department additional squad room, basically, and a couple of offices, I think, as I understood it. So there'll be a place for the officers to work. And I think it'll allow the chief to reorganize things so that the workflow is more logical, I think is what he explained to us, so.
And the lowest bidder was Mass Construction, LLC.
Yeah, and so, yeah, the low bidder was Mass Construction, who we're dealing with on our purchase order here in conjunction with Eco Electric and Mockley Electric and PhD Communications for some specialized equipment, I think, that, I guess that's computer equipment, is the PhD, is that right?
Yes.
So, anyway, a total of $112,300 roughly. Any further discussion?
I think it's commendable that Chief LaFave offered to be the general contractor on this project to save some money, so.
It saved us quite a bit of money.
Saved several $1,000s.
Yeah, it was like 18,000 saved.
Other comments or questions? Motions?
I'll make a motion that we approve this purchase order for the addition to the police department in the amount of $112,279.03 to Mass Construction LLC.
So we have a motion by Armand and a second by
I'll second it.
Neil. All those in favor?
Aye.
Sounds like a unanimous vote, I think. Paul's got the original purchase order over there. Yeah. Yeah, okay, the next item on our agenda then is committee reports. I know that Bill wanted to say something about
Should just,
the Northern Pass meeting you went
at
to.
least that, yeah.
Yep,
I got a couple others too.
okay. Let's,
So I attended the Northern Pass meeting up in Loon, and I guess these meetings were around the state, SEC, whatever SEC, the acronym for it. It's the,
I forget. I'll think of it, you keep
Yeah.
talking.
so they requested, Site Evaluation Committee.
Yeah.
Requested that Eversource conduct these general hearings in several geographic areas. The one at Loon Mountain was very well attended. You know, they must have, well, the the venue was full, and there was an overwhelming statement that there was no really adamant opposition to the project itself, but should the project go forward, there was overwhelming agreement that it shall be buried completely. And I guess that was the message that was taken home from the several venues that were offered. There was also a meeting that I attended, and it's outside of the select board, I guess, purview, but it was a Green Cemetery meeting that Lee Webster hosted at the library last week, and I'm a cemetery trustee and attended. And what green burial is an option for burial, essentially. It's an ecological way to inter a body, which is a very pleasant talk, but if, for those that attended the library, they were edified by Lee, and, you know, theoretically, it might be something that we might be contemplating in Plymouth as well.
Can I ask you, who is Lee?
Lee was a former chair of the Conservation Commission,
Okay.
and she is, I think, like she's on a national board of Green Cemetery.
I believe she's president.
Oh, and it's also, you know, international as well. I know she's been traveling.
Is this a type of burial that people are trying to establish, or does it exist in some
Yeah,
places?
it exists. Actually, New Hampshire has a couple. You know, it's in different parts of the country, more predominantly. Actually, if you were of a Jewish religion and you were following their practices, you'd be basically following green burial techniques, including like a rapid burial of the body, like within 3 days. The deal is, or at least the practice is, that there's no vault. And there's a shallow burial, and the desire is to have, you know, quick aerobic decomposition, and, you know, there's, you know, the nutrients or whatever returns to the soil. And there's a mandate, there's no embalming, and, you know, no chemicals leached into the soil. So it's a practice that's kind of like being revisited, because actually prior to the 1940s, this was pretty much the rule. Rule of thumb is to follow green burial.
Anything else you'd like to share with us tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, I tended to think about poking an eye out. No, I mean, there was a planning board work session actually last week, and we're looking at constructing a questionnaire from the town visioning session that occurred, I guess it was, I don't even recall when it was. Several months ago, yeah. And so I'm working with the chair of the planning board and the representative from North Country Council to come up with a questionnaire that we'll be releasing shortly.
Okay. Anybody else have?
Oh, I just had a question for Bill. Will the Conservation Commission have any input on that questionnaire too?
Actually, they will. There's a representative on the planning board that, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And also with regard to green burial too, this possibility of looking at conservation, areas for, sites as well. So you're instrumental.
Okay.
Paul?
With these burials, Bill, do wedding rings and other items stay on the person?
I'm not certain. I would, kind of, I don't know. It depends upon, I guess, the
I know law
request.
enforcement's gonna be,
The what?
I know that'll be an interest in law enforcement, and,
Yeah, I think I've heard a concern from the chief regarding that. But, it's probably whatever practice that the cemetery would allow.
You can't take it with you. It will be one of the rules.
other people can take it from you.
Yeah, that was a concern, is whether or not it might be easier for someone to suspect that there might be valuables
Tomb Raiders.
3.5 feet down versus 5 feet through a vault, a cement vault, but again, it's basically a practice that was done, 40 years ago, 50 years ago.
Anybody else have?
School board, it was not gonna have a meeting this month. The next meeting will be October 5th, so
Okay.
I'll be at that.
Armand? I think you're next on the agenda with new business.
Oh, right. So as of October 1st, unfortunately, I will no longer be a resident of the town of Plymouth and will not be a taxpayer after that date. So when that happens on October 1st, unfortunately, I will not be able to serve in my capacity as selectman. So I
But
want
we
to
will miss you.
make sure everyone knew that. It's just due to the fact that I've sold my home and I'm moving to another town. So,
All right.
thank you for,
Will you give us
allowing me.
a letter of resignation, probably?
I shall,
Okay.
yes.
Well, we will miss you.
I will miss,
And I guess this is your last meeting because we just decided we weren't gonna have our.
28th, yeah. I suppose that's true then.
You should tell the people who bought the house they have to sign on.
What's that?
The people who bought the house, they have to sign on.
Yeah, right.
Do you, Frank, do you live in Plymouth?
No.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we could draft you.
That's it.
All right, Paul?
So the way this will be working is the board will be picking somebody, that'll be about a 3.5 month term between now and the March elections to fill the place. And since it's such a short period, I know you have a board member from another board that is willing to serve that period, that short period, and then go back to that board. And then at the March election, somebody will be running for a 1-year term, should they choose to want that position.
Because, yeah, Armand will have 1 year left on.
I can tell you it will not be that board member, should he
won't.
choose to accept it. He's not planning on running. He's
Right.
here to assist us get through the next 3 or 4 months
Yeah,
only.
he doesn't want to hold elective office.
No, he
I
doesn't
don't
want to
think.
hold, no, he doesn't want to hold an elective office.
So we should consider that and vote, I guess, after,
Right,
at the meeting following the 1st of October, right?
right.
Okay. Which will be the 8th or the
13th.
13.
Okay. Okay. Any other business? New, old, unfinished? Anybody have? John?
I have a question. Have we heard what they're gonna do on fairgrounds with the, I think that's a state,
That's a good
situation.
question, because we do get a lot of calls on that, and I'm just afraid that, the construction season is going by fast. That's not going to be a 1-week job.
What are we talking about?
Those,
We have sinkhole and paving at the
Oh.
beginning of Fairgrounds
one
Road.
lane stop yield thing.
Oh, I
Well,
didn't even see it.
I could add something there. The state DOT has had their survey engineers up there doing preliminary planning to engineer a stabilization project.
Should
And they have tried to improve the drainage so that it won't erode anymore.
yeah, I saw the.
But it's a pretty serious situation.
Seems to be
It's
getting
a
worse.
very steep slope
The
and
fact that we have
all
the other
sand.
end of Fairgrounds Road closed due to construction, it's hard to get to Beach Hill Road and the recycling center for ourselves. So we are getting a lot of calls on it. I mean, we have waste management trucks that have to go by this. And it is stop one way and yield the other way, so we only have 1 lane out there.
Oh.
This
So
soil.
we weren't planning on having this type of problems at both ends of Fairgrounds Road at the same time.
Is there something you think we should do? Call DOT?
I think we're gonna have to call DOT.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can have somebody from the staff call DOT this week, express some concern. At least get a timetable so that we can announce it.
Yeah, okay.
I will put that information on our website.
They might be able to get some emergency funding. You know, it's kind of like a disaster.
Kind of working with no budget right now.
You know, that they have the emergency funding, that they own the emergency funding, so
Yeah.
that's state. So that wouldn't be town.
Yeah, but considering the state's working on a continuing resolution, and there was some story on NPR today about the fact that some state that's also running, on a continuing resolution can't pay the sweepstakes.
Illinois.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not budgeted. I mean, it is budgeted, but they can't expend it, so.
Did something happen in Concord today? Was the legislature in
Was there a
session?
vote?
I thought maybe it's tomorrow. Or I thought it was coming up, though, today, or
Usually they don't work on Monday, do they?
Mm-mm.
maybe.
It's only
Monday.
Wednesdays.
Anyway, if there's nothing else, motion to adjourn?
Public comment?
Oh, yes, does the public have any comment?
No, sir.
Okay,
I move that we adjourn.
motion by
Second.
Neil, second by John, I think was
Yep.
first. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 We are adjourned.